Deputy Presidency Minister Newzroom Afrika says investigations into the case of missing journalist Aserie Ndlovu and his partner are at an advanced stage. The pair were last seen in February and a 100,000 rand reward has been offered for anyone with information on their disappearance. Meanwhile, the National Press Club as well as the African Media and Communicators Forum have expressed their frustration with how the investigations are going, saying the only way progress will be made is if National Police Commissioner Aserie Ndlovu gets on board. For more on this, let's speak to Elijah Mhlanga, the chairperson of the African Media and Communicators Forum, on the progress made thus far. Elijah, thank you so much for the time then. At an advanced stage are the investigations into the missing journalist and his partner. What does that mean?
Good morning, Arabile. Let me start by thanking the National Commissioner for the Police for the swift response after he received the letter that we sent jointly as the National Press Club as well as the African Media and Communicators Forum on Friday. Immediately after that, he set in motion a process that has now integrated the investigation into a single team comprising different officers at different levels and units, who have since delivered a report to the Deputy Minister and the President Newzroom Afrika yesterday in Kwamhlanga. And based on that confidential report that we got, we are confident that some announcement will be made very soon in terms of the progress in that regard. Except that we are not at liberty to say, but we are really grateful for the work that has been done, except that we were not aware of the work that was happening behind the scenes because there was no update, and we felt frustrated on behalf of the families who were also telling us that they need to know what's going on.
So ultimately, are we saying we expect to see some sort of update in the coming weeks?
It could be any time. You know, a lot of work has been done. We leave that part to the communications people at the SAPS to communicate, but they have done some good work, and we are really confident that sooner rather than later, the country will know what is taking place regarding this case, which has been ongoing for a very long time now. It's 77 days today since the disappearance of our brother, friend, and colleague, who is also a father, a brother, and a son to the mother who has been crying nonstop every day since the 18th of February when it was reported that he had gone missing.
If we are at this advanced stage, as it has been put then, why was there a need to raise the reward in order to get more information? Was it because there's a little bit of information that is still just missing in order to conclude or find some sort of results, etc.? Or is there a little bit more to it?
Yeah, we raised it before we received the report yesterday, and we could not reverse it because the investigation is not concluded yet. And, you know, so we feel that someone somewhere should still come forward and give the police any information that they may have. Remember, with these cases, you need to have every bit of information that you can get for you to secure conviction. Even if there's an announcement that arrests have been made or whatever the case may be, evidence will still be needed to convince the court beyond reasonable doubt that indeed whoever is held by the police is the one and that that person should go to jail for a very long time. So we are appealing for additional information. And I must also say that we are grateful to the donors who have worked with us to support us in this regard by giving us the cash amount for people that will have information to support the investigation.
The pair have been missing for at least 2 months now, Elijah. How did the National Police Commissioner Aserie Ndlovu's involvement actually change things at all? And I only ask because you also, began this by thanking the police commissioner then for his involvement, his swift response, etc. What did it actually change in regards to this investigation?
Yeah, that's a very important question. You know, we had been working behind the scenes with the police. Remember, this matter involves Mpumalanga as well as Gauteng. And there are investigating officers on both sides. There are teams on both sides. Based on analysis, we realized that the communication and the coordination between the two teams wasn't working. And we noted that it needed somebody from the center. It needed to be managed from the top. And based on that, we then sent a letter to the National Commissioner, who sent centrally an instruction And that instruction has worked because we are now seeing greater cooperation, greater coordination. In fact, the teams have since been reconstituted to form a single national team, integrated, that is working on this matter, which was not the case before. It was just cooperation between Gauteng and Mpumalanga. And sometimes when the families, and this is our concern, really, the families, when they needed information, they would go to Gauteng. Gauteng would refer to Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga referred them back to Gauteng. So we realized that this wasn't working. An intervention right from the top was needed. And that's exactly what we got. And it's yielding results because we even saw a helicopter yesterday assisting. We're told that another one has been deployed. So we are now seeing resources coordinated from a central level, something which was missing. And we were running out of patience because, as we indicated, it's been more than 2 months with no clue or whatsoever. So it was very, very painful to see Aserie's mother crying every day with frustration. Also, that there's no information forthcoming regarding the progress of the investigation.
I mean, this is 76 days ultimately is what today is since they've been missing as well then. Does that suggestion that you then put forward with regards to greater association with the National Police Commissioner, the greater communication between the two provinces as well, the ability to help in terms of information between the two provinces and the needs thereof, has that suggestion been put forward so that it actually helps on broader cases as well? I know you don't necessarily speak for the police, but that it ultimately creates an environment in which there's better communication all around.
Yeah, thanks for that. I will just say what the Deputy Minister and the President, Ken Morolong, said yesterday during the briefing. He informed the police and advised them that they need to try communicate with families, especially in complex matters like this one, even at a high level. Because if they don't, he said, your silence can sometimes undermine the good work that you are doing. And indeed, based on the report we got yesterday, a lot of work has been done. There's so much detail. We received a detailed report, which was really impressive, but it was not being communicated, even at a high level. There wasn't even a word to say we're investigating at the right time, we'll communicate. There was no such. And we believe it was because of the disconnect between the two provinces and the teams in terms of who should take a responsibility. So we believe and trust that out of this situation, some lessons would have been learned as well in terms of how to handle complex matters like this one, which involves many families, involves many provinces, different teams, and also affecting someone who was in organizations like ours, where he was serving and we were missing him and we're also desperate for information. And let me say that we are a platform, we are a forum that coordinates communicators as well as journalists. So when one of our own goes missing, it creates anxiety among us because we don't know, especially the motive. We don't know whether it's related to his work or something. So that's why some light is needed to create clarity so that we know, because in this space, anything can happen. So we don't want our colleagues feeling anxious about the work that they do.
Yeah, Elijah, let's very finally just talk about the National Press Club as well as yourselves then as African Media and Communicators Forum. If it wasn't for your involvement in this case, one wonders whether it would have gained as much traction. Is that a little bit of a concern as well, that organizations like yourselves first need to get involved in cases like this then, in order for something to actually come to bear, for some fruits to be shown as well in cases like this? Could that be of any concern to you?
Well, a little bit, because we felt that, we are the media, we are the people that convey information from authorities, organizations to the rest of the public. And the communicators are the people that generate that content. So we understand the sector, we understand the media and communication space. And based on our analysis, we felt that something was not happening in the way that it should happen. We understand there are many families around the country who are expecting their loved ones who have gone missing for weeks, months, days, and years. We also are sympathetic to them as well. We just felt that as the people that are involved in the business of publicizing things, we should also take on that responsibility when one of our own has also gone missing. So it's on that basis that we felt we needed to do this. But, it's unfortunate if other cases, and we know that there are other cases that are not receiving as much publicity, but we also felt that this one was also not receiving that publicity, especially when you have 2 adults who go missing. No one knows where they are. Their car has not been found. Their phones have been off. The money in the bank is not being taken. There's no demand for ransom. The anxiety just grows because you don't know what's happening to these people, whether they're alive, whether they're not alive anymore, whether they're still in the country, whether they're not in the country anymore. All the morgues were searched, all the hospitals were searched, people were asked, and there's still nothing. So you can understand the level of frustration there that made us to begin to produce posters every day, counting the days that the 2 had gone missing.
Elijah Mhlanga, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for sharing as much detail as you possibly could with regards to this one. We certainly will be watching as well with bated breath.